All right, my computer freaked out in the middle of doing this. So let's get to the last page here. This idea of elasticity. So the price elasticity of demand. There's kind of a lot to this. We know that as price goes up, fewer people will buy this, right? So if we start here and raise the price up to here, okay, we're going to move along this line from 1 to 2, and the quantity moves from here to here to 2. Well, actually, it doesn't make any sense on a timeline. Let me get rid of that. But we go from this quantity, Q1, over here to quantity 2. So we're going to have this decrease in quantity. So increase in price equals decrease in quantity. That's the law of demand. We know that. That's a thing. We know that that exists. So what we can do then is let's change things around, because we want to know how much, and that's what elasticity asks. If price goes up, how much does quantity go down? And that's what elasticity measures. Okay, so, and we can see this in a bunch of different ways. This box is going to do a lot of heavy lifting right now, because there's really a lot going on. So this is the central question, but we have a couple different ways to look at elasticity. Way number one is just the shape of our lines. So here's a demand curve, right? As price goes up, quantity is going to go down. But here's the thing, price only goes up a little bit, and quantity is going to change by a lot. Okay, so this is an elastic situation. Elastic. And this is, again, we'll have another way to look at this in a second. Or we can have an inelastic situation where here's our demand curve. And in this situation, the price can go way up. Right? We'll have this giant change in price, but it looks like we're just going to have this little change in quantity. Okay, and this is inelastic. I'm realizing this little tiny box right here it's going to be jam-packed full of stuff. So bear with me. So we can look at it this way, we can look at it that way. We can also look at it as a math problem. Oh, but you won't have to do math, don't worry. So what's going on here is, if we have we're looking for, it's the percent change in price over the percent change in quantity. Okay, so if, for example, right here, we have this, oh, sorry, actually it's the other way around. I've got these backwards. Aha. It's percent change in quantity over the percent change in price. So if we have this big giant, no, that's wrong too. If it's elastic, it's greater than 1, so that means, no, that's right. So if we have a big percent change in quantity and a teeny little percent change in, over a teeny little percent change in price, this is elastic. Okay, so that's what's happening in this situation right here. This thing. I'm just making a mess right now. Let's stop that nonsense. So that's what's happening here. We have this little price change and this big quantity change. Everybody bails out just because the price went up a little tiny bit. If it goes the other way, if we have a little tiny change in quantity, even if there's a huge change in price, this is inelastic. Okay, and kind of the last way to look at these is under the lens of what makes something elastic or inelastic. So things that are elastic tend to be things that are, and they fit under a bunch of categories. They're usually expensive, so they take up a big chunk of your income, and if the price goes up a little tiny percent, like Well, the price on that house only went up by 2%. Well, 2% could be, thousands of dollars. So is it expensive? Next thing, is it a luxury? Is it something you need? So if it's something you don't really need and it's something that you just kind of want, you can put that off till later. Another thing that will make it elastic is, do you have time to make a decision? Time to decide. Right? If you have time to think it over, then it's probably elastic. Because that leads you to the last thing, and that is, does it have a lot of substitutes? If it's got a lot of substitutes, and you have time to think it over, you'll probably make another decision, especially if it's expensive. So these can kind of add on to each other. So anyway, all this stuff needs to somehow fit in this little tiny box up here. Demand and total revenue. So I'm going to erase all this stuff. You might want to hit pause. And erase. So the idea of demand and total revenue is another way to look at elasticity. So let me draw a demand curve. Here's my price. Here's my quantity. And then here's the thing right underneath it. Well, actually, let me do this. Will this work? Haha, look at this. That's kind of fancy. I can make the grids bigger. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, excellent. All right, so here, let me erase this. Let me draw a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I got somebody calling me. And I'm going to draw a demand curve like so. Okay. And this is prices 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, let's scoot this out a bit. Hold on. All right, so here's this. And my quantities are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So what we're going to do down here is right below this, I'm going to make a total revenue graph. And what I'm going to do is the total revenue here is I'm going to sell this for $5, but I'm only selling 1. So I'm going to put the 5 right here. I'm going to make $5 total revenue. If I lower the price to $4, I can sell 2. So that means I'm going to make $8. So 6, 7, that's a 7, trust me. 8. So this is going to go right here. Right, because my total revenue here is 5. Here's my total revenue is 8. If I lower the price to $3, I can sell 3 of them. 3 times 3 is 9. If I drop the price to $2, I can sell 4 of these. So 2 of them for $4, or 4 of them for $2 each. That's $8. And then if I drop the price all the way to $1, I can sell 5 of these. And that drops us back here. And what we wind up with is this total revenue line. Not the prettiest. And we can get a number of things out of this. And essentially, we can see we have this part of the curve here where as price goes down, total revenue goes up. So if price goes down, total revenue goes up. And that means we are elastic. And the opposite is true over here. So if price goes down and total revenue goes down also, because look at this, we're heading down, then we are inelastic. So our curve has elastic and inelastic parts to it. So ask me about that if you want more help with that later. And then right here, this little point right here, this is unit elastic. And this is a point where total revenue doesn't really change. All right, good. All right, supply elasticity. There's a couple different ways to look at this. One is over time. In the short run, supply is perfectly inelastic. If a bunch of people show up at your shop, there's really nothing you can do to increase your supply. You've got the workers you've got that day. Short run. or sorry, this is the immediate situation. My bad. So this is now. In the short run, meaning if you got a little bit of time to prepare, you're going to have a slightly, oh, I'm going the wrong way. That's not a supply curve, that's a demand curve. You've got a slightly more elastic supply. And in the long run, you can be a lot more elastic. You've got a lot more time to plan things. Short run, long run. And that's kind of all I'm going to get out of supply elasticity right now. Income elasticity is this idea, if your income goes up, how much does your demand go up? Demand increase. And sometimes it'll decrease, right? So here's the thing. If we have the percent change in income over the percent change in quantity, what you can see is if your income is positive and your change in quantity is positive, these are normal goods. However, if your income goes up and your demand quantity goes down, these are inferior goods. Right? If my income goes up, I'm going to buy fewer bus tickets because I'm not going to take the bus anymore. I'm taking a cab. Okay, and then the opposite is also true. If my income goes down, I'm going to buy more bus tickets. So that's that. Cross elasticity is if the percent change of the price of, say, X over the percent change of the quantity of Y. So if the price of X goes up, it's a positive number, and the quantity I buy of Y goes up also, X got more expensive, so I'm going to buy more Y. So these things are substitutes. And if the price of X goes up and I buy less of Y, it's because these two things go together. So X is more expensive. I'm not going to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. These are complements. And if the price of X goes up and the quantity of Y doesn't move, we can't divide by 0. So these things are unrelated. All right. And then price floor and price ceiling I'll have to do in another thing because I'm running out of time.